listening to The Greg Kelly Show.
You know, a few days ago, I canceled a lot of my dopey subscriptions that I forgot about. You know, you'd be surprised how many things you might be subscribing to and not realizing it. However, I made sure I subscribed to the hottest political content provider, whatever you want to call it. Go to walkingduck.com/Mark. walkingduck.com/Mark. Get rid of all your other subscriptions. Okay, this is it. Mark Halperin is probably the leading political journalist of our time, and nobody has been on top of the situation with Joe Biden like him. And by the way, he runs these really interesting calls, and you could, if you subscribe to this stuff, you could find yourself on a call right next to Newt Gingrich, and you can ask him a question. It's pretty wild. Mark Halperin, welcome back. What's new?
Greg Kelly, you're very nice, and apparently you couldn't say it if it weren't true. So thank you.
Okay.
It's a very strange day in this question of whether Joe Biden's going to be the Democratic nominee. The polling is horrible for him today. You have still lots of people calling for him not to be the nominee. Lots of behind-the-scenes machinations by Democratic politicians and donors and pundits to try to get him out. And yet, between the letter he wrote to Congress and his appearance on Morning Joe, he's more firmly going forward than he ever has since this began. So it's pretty clear to me that if you're going to kill the king, you go for the king, you must kill the king. And that the only way to kill the king is to have a united plan. There's no unity in the Democratic Party. Some people want Joe Biden to stay. Some people want him to go. But the people who want him to go have 72 different ideas about what that means. So I would say today he's staying.
Well, you mentioned he's holding on firmly, maybe a bit too firmly. The Morning Joe interview you said, well, listen to this. I know you've heard it, but I think it's pretty wild, and it shows that he's possibly deranged. Cut 15, please. Cut 15.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance. Number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
He's letting it all hang out. We know he's pretty nasty behind the scenes. Now he's letting it out in the open.
Greg, why did you cut it off before the part where he said, "Get off my lawn"? Look, Greg, I say with all due respect, I understand why you played that clip. And I think there's no one who supports Joe Biden who would say that in terms of tone and substance, that was perfect. But that's not the guy from the debate. You can say that that's on a continuum from the debate, but it's not the guy from the debate. If he's that, quote unquote, good in his public presentation, that's good enough to be in it. He's way behind. I mean, the irony of all this is the guy's fighting to be the nominee when he's falling further behind in the battleground states. Rob Reiner, who tweeted only yesterday, Biden's got to go, tweeted today, if he's every day as good as he was on Morning Joe, then I'm all for him again. So that's good enough for a lot of Democrats. May not be good enough for Greg Kelly. Doesn't mean he's got a great chance to win. His chances to win before were small. They're smaller now, but he's going forward at this point.
Well, I would imagine that there are actually probably a few Democrats who are a little bit creeped out by what he did. I mean, anybody can yell into the phone from the comfort of their home or office, especially if it's the White House. You get on stage, he choked. There seems to be a neurological issue. All right, let me ask you this. And you actually ran a conference call with some of the biggest names in politics a few months ago about Michelle getting into this race. Now, I know that you have been firmly, this is a pipe dream, this is a fantasy, not going to happen. But the people who said that, they said that before the world changed, and the world is in a very different place right now, especially the Democrat Party. She is somebody who does not like Joe Biden, I believe. Well, tell me a little bit about Michelle. And is that as preposterous now? It can't be. It can't be. It just can't be, Mark.
It's equally preposterous. She'll never run for public office. She just won't, Greg. I mean, I understand why people bring it up. There are all sorts of logics to it. She's a great foil for the right. She will never run for public office. It's just, and it's nothing to do with her enjoying her life currently. She's never been interested in it. She was barely tolerated her husband doing it. She will never run for public office.
All right, fair enough. And it's not that a foil. I mean, I think that let's pretend for a moment she did. It would satisfy a lot of, like you said, there's a logic to it. There's a logic to it. All right, so that's it. It's interesting, Mark. You have changed your mind on this, which is very interesting and actually commendable. A lot of people, they make up their mind. Okay, Joe Biden's getting out, and they stick with it no matter what the incoming data is. You're taking data and you're adjusting as the data and the stories and the story changes, and you're changing too.
Let me tell you why I was very confident he was going to get out of the race, because about 48 hours ago, senior officials on Capitol Hill, senior officials in the Biden campaign were saying, we don't see how he can make it. Right? So it wasn't them saying Biden's told us he's going to get out, but these were senior people saying, we just don't see a path forward. 48 hours later, what they're saying to me is, he's all in. Some of the people who were freaked out have now stabilized themselves. I remember when I covered Bill Clinton, after the Monica Lewinsky story broke, some of the toughest, most hard-nosed people I'd ever covered in politics were in tears on the telephone with me. Bill Clinton aides saying, this is a nightmare. His life is ruined. Our life is ruined. This is a disaster. Those same aides went from crying to running a rock'em sock'em war room that saved Bill Clinton's presidency. And that's in an abbreviated form of what seems to be happening here. The people who were panicked 2 days ago, now the very same people are saying to me, you know what? Maybe this is stabilized. Now, again, what they're ignoring is the polling. What they've stabilized is the nomination. They haven't done much to turn around the damage the debate did to his general election prospects. But in terms of saving the nomination, they're feeling pretty good.
Hey, one of those guys who freaked out after New Hampshire or before New Hampshire over Jennifer Flowers, I believe, was George Stephanopoulos, who thought he should quit and may have. It's one of the reasons I think.
Irony. How
about that one? So
or historical through line, either way.
Hey, what about this? This is a new factor, perhaps. I hear that Hunter Biden is going to every single meeting and annoying, infuriating all the senior staff. And he knows better, and he's glued to his father's side. That's another factor here, an X factor, whatever you want to call it, that I think maybe could blow it all up. What are you hearing about Hunter?
Well, I don't think he's in every meeting, but he's been in a lot of meetings, and he played a big role in prepping his dad for the Stephanopoulos interview, so I understand it. Look, he's around, and the Biden clan, when they're feeling the staff is letting them down, they turn to each other. I know there's a lot of jokes about Hunter and how preposterous it is that he's in these meetings and playing a big role, and there are people in the president's staff who feel that way. But he's not without an understanding of these issues, and obviously he cares a lot about his dad. So when my father's faced a crisis, I've gotten in the foxhole with him, even in things that were outside my lane, and that's what families do.
All right. Another thing, and I before we go, I am still kind of baffled by why they agreed to this debate in the first place. I know apparently the polling was bad, and they thought he would do better. But, I just had to double check for myself. This is a full 3 months earlier than any other debate. 3 months. And, you look at Tony Blinken over the past 3 years. I mean, he is perpetually freaked out by Joe Biden. What is he going to say next? Oh, my God, we got a problem. I still can't get my hands around why they allow this to happen when they had a rationale. They could just say, well, we're not going to debate a convicted felon, and they could have gotten away with that. So anything more on why they did it, when they did it, it just seems like the biggest bonehead move in the history of the world.
They did it because of the reality of the Electoral College. They're way behind. In the battleground states, they don't have an Electoral College path at all, and the one they kind of see hazily in the distance is a narrow path to exactly 270 electoral votes, the minimum number needed. And so the alternative to doing an early debate was waiting until the fall for debate, hoping that they would have a better convention than the Republicans. But the reality was, day after day being behind in the polls. And the public polls were better for Biden than the private polls, and they worried that the public polls would start to show what their polls were showing, which is really no path to win. So they had to try to change it. They tried all sorts of other options, but they didn't see anything that for them has clearly put them on the path to where they wanted to be, which is a side-by-side contrast between the two men. The fact that they didn't execute means it was a bad plan because they didn't execute. But had he executed, I think it would have been a good plan.
Let's go to the Republican side real quick. I think you had a prediction on who it was going to be the vice president that you didn't reveal to anybody. So now that we're on the verge of finding out who Trump's running mate is, was this guy on your list? And who do you think it's going to be now?
Well, I really don't know. And I share the suspicion that some have that the list of three names, Burgum, Rubio, and Vance, that have been handed out to everybody, does not contain the winner. Karl Rove said he thought it might be Mike Pompeo. I think it might be Glenn Youngkin or Nikki Haley. There could be like a big surprise that would really rock the Democrats back. If it's one of the three, my gut says it's going to be Vance, just because my sources keep telling me it's going to be Vance, and they have for a while. Rubio makes the most sense to me. I think Burgum is seen as solid, but I still think it's a little risky because he's never played at this level. So the short answer is I don't have any idea. But nothing would surprise me. Any of the three guys on the supposed short list wouldn't surprise me, and a surprise, ironically, would not surprise me.
And if you don't mind, Mark, tell us a little bit about walkingduck.com/Mark. There are all sorts of cool features. I love it as a website, but how do you describe the walkingduck.com/Mark Halperin experience?
Thank you for asking, Greg. This is what I call concierge coverage. It's not for people who don't have a lot of money because it's expensive. But what you get is a daily newsletter with my take on what's going on every day, not just Monday through Friday, but 7 days a week. And then, as you said, part of these Zooms that you've been on, where you have the smartest people in American politics. It's not partisan. They're Republicans and Democrats. We're not there to fight or score points. We're there to learn and educate. I have great access to lots of people. I learn a ton on these calls. I find them super interesting, informative, engaging, thought-provoking. And so check it out, walkingduck.com/Mark. If you can afford it,
it's not that expensive.
It's unique. You'll find it's unique. It's unique. I don't think there's another service like it to get a sophisticated take every day about what's going on.
Yeah, no, it's really special. You're onto something really big here. Walkingduck.com/Mark. Congratulations on it. Get rid of all your other dopey subscriptions, people. This is the one you want. Mark Halperin, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, man. Talk to you soon.
You bet. We got to adjust his marketing, though. We don't want to talk about how expensive it is. I don't think it's not even that expensive. It's not that expensive. Wow. So I think he's right about that, though. It's not going to be one of those three. It's not going to be one of those three on the Republican side. Could it be Vivek? Could it be Nikki Haley? I don't want it to be Nikki. Please don't let it be Nikki. Oh, it can't be Nikki. Can it? Can it? Can it? Please, no. Wait a second. Kevin, is it going to be Nick? No, it's not going to be Nikki Haley. Kevin, you just heard the smartest guy in politics say it could be Nikki Haley. So it could be Nikki Haley. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Greg? Appreciate your show. Appreciate WABC and everything everybody do. I just want to say first, I think Mr. Catsimatidis is one of the best CEOs in America, and he's running circles around Bob Pittman and all the rest of these other CEOs of radio stations. With that being said, I actually think that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to be the Democrat. They're going to select him as a nominee for president. And also, I just want to say, I wanted your take on with the vice president selection. I think, nobody could predict Trump, and that's a great quality of him. And I think he's going to choose, this is my personal belief, just looking. I think that the North Carolina lieutenant governor, Mark Robertson, is a wild card that nobody's talking about, and because Trump gives him a lot of praise and they respect each other a lot. So I'll watch out for Mark Robertson, and I'll watch out for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The reason Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is the CEO of Endeavor. He got good relations with The Rock, and his brother is one of the guys who used to work at the old Chicago mayor.
Emanuel, Ari Emanuel. Guess what? That guy is also Trump's agent. Ari Emanuel's brother is, Who's the other? Rahm Emanuel. Rahm and Ari. Yeah. Look, here's my beef with The Rock. He totally juiced it to get that muscled. All right. It was all roids. All roids. Right. And he's not even a good actor. I mean, what the hell? What does he have to stand for? Nobody knows. He's already come out. I think he said he regrets endorsing Biden, so that's a plus in his category. You know what? What was he? What movie was he in anyway? Shrek. I mean, what was he? No, I don't think so. I don't think it can be him. But Kevin, thanks for all the other stuff. I agree with you about John, and yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Kevin has thought it all through. I just don't. No, it's not going to be Dwayne The Rock. However, he might run next time, so it's not preposterous. It's not crazy that guy could run. But I don't like him. I think he's a self-absorbed beefcake ham. Yes. I know a few other self-absorbed beefcake hams who are going to remain nameless. And I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
This is Greg Kelly for Priority Gold. What does it mean to be America's precious metals dealer? It means that you're in touch with the hearts and minds of those who love this country, value our freedom, and want to protect the future. Priority Gold is that precious metals dealer. They've helped thousands of Americans back their retirement with solid gold and silver. Call Priority Gold at 888-506-6439. Receive free shipping, free storage, a free investment guide, and one of the best purchase experiences in the industry. Call now or go to PriorityGold.com.